Yeah, and
So I like
with teams that acquire a ton of assets, if you look at it now, so OKC has done it. We still haven't seen like the fruits of that labor because they just really got it. But if you look
and
at
we're
Boston, who was the quintessential let's acquire assets, they turned it into Tatum and Brown, which was great. But that team is kind of stalled out as Eastern Conference Finals twice in
3 years.
the last 3 years, and it looks now like that's as far as it's going to go. And as much as I like Tatum and Brown, acquiring all these assets just to be essentially better than where you were, but every time they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, it wasn't. They did take LeBron to 7, but we knew LeBron was coming out of that series.
Yeah, bro.
And then oddly, last year I think they should have won. If you watch the games they lost, it was like they gave this game away, and that
Yeah.
was for several of the games. And now I think the window's just closed.
Oh yeah, because they're not a good team right now. Like when I watch them, it hurts. It goes, this is bad. This is a bad TV product. And if you look at the way the team is built, though, you have Kimba, who's not good anymore. Every day, his knees are gone, and with his size and him not having that first step the way he used to, he's never going to be the same. He's not what you want. Like, you probably should have kept Scary Terry. Looking back on it, but you have Kemba, who's not what he was, but he's also a scoring guard. You have Jason Tatum, who can get his own bucket, who rebounds well, but does not get other people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen can score the hell out of the basketball, can play defense, doesn't make anybody else better. Marcus Smart is supposed to be their playmaker and difference maker, but he has some of the most irrational confidence in the league. So you can just bake in 4 or 5 god-awful shots. They might as well be turnover possessions. And then they go out and they make the big moves. They go get Evan Fournier, who's another person who is a wing scorer who doesn't get anybody else involved. What the hell are the Celtics? What is Danny doing?
They added a damn near 20-point scorer who does nothing. And like it's 20 points that don't help you win. So he doesn't help other people get their shots. He doesn't facilitate anything. And it's crazy that Gordon Hayward left, which, I mean, for what he wanted, I get letting him go. But how monumental a piece that was because he could facilitate. And they're getting Evan Fournier back. And he scores more points than Gordon did, but he doesn't do it. He's not going to put you in winning position.
No, and from what I've been reading about the Celtics, like, there is a lot going on there. So Marcus Smart was not happy about being in trade rumors, and it was affecting his play.
Which I couldn't imagine. Fair.
The team is divided by locker rooms. So because of the COVID and the social distancing, in their home locker room, they have to use 2 different locker rooms so everybody can have adequate space. And it's pretty much divided vets and young guys. Well, that's kind of how their team is split. And there's a lack of camaraderie. Like, if you see them on the court, it is the Jaylen Brown show. It is the Jason Tatum show. It might be the Kemba show, depending on if he shows up that day. And after that, it's bad.
Tatum and Brown are certified bucket getters. They're all-stars. They're great young players. The bench, last year, I was like, this bench needs some upgrades. And the bench got worse. Yeah. Imagine a world where they're like, we want Brad Wanamaker back. Imagine a world where like, we want Enes Kanter back. And that's where they're at now, where they got Tristan Thompson, and Enes Kanter is a better solution than Tristan Thompson, where you want Brad Wanamaker back.
Tristan isn't playing well, and they don't want him around the team. Apparently, he keeps going out because, Tristan lives that life.
Apparently.
And at this point, I just feel like he was just trying to force his way out of there. But they're not going anywhere. And with the locker room being split this year, it's been split previously. Apparently, there's real issues between Jalen and Marcus Smart as far as like just the way they play the game of basketball. Was Kyrie really the problem in Boston? Like, I know what the reports are going to say. I know we're going to say that, look at Kyrie now. He's sitting out again. The there's a lot of things that we can point to make Kyrie the problem, but I don't think Boston in the immediate present and past has showed anything that tells us that they deserve the benefit of the doubt as it comes to building a championship basketball program.
I'm not going to sit here and say it was all Kyrie's fault, but let's not sit up here and be like, oh, look, they're imploding. See, Kyrie wasn't the problem. Because Kyrie was definitely part of the problem also. He's certified 25 a game. They were a second seed when he went out. But once he went out, you saw that team was really moving. Like, he went out and then Scary Terry became Scary Terry. Like, he got a nickname. And this is the first time people have been talking about him since Louisville. So I'm saying we're not going to sit up here and be like, oh, see, it wasn't Kyrie's fault when Kyrie went out and we saw what happened. They went to 7 games against LeBron. And granted, like I said, we knew LeBron was gonna pull a LeBron and get himself out of that series. But they were really good that year. And then the next year when Kyrie came back, Jason Tatum did not look as good. Jaylen Brown did not look as good. And the year before that, right when he went out, we were like, yo, look, these young cats are going. And you would assume they were a second seed. These young players took leaps. And then with Kyrie coming back, who's a 25 points a game guy, they would have been all right. And it just was not there. So I think Kyrie also deserves some of the blame for this. And he, yes, has been a problem.
I'm not saying that he isn't a problem, but I think he was painted as the problem. And maybe just the Celtics aren't as well run. They're not as there's not as much camaraderie going on there as we like to make it out to be. That's all I'm saying.
I think there's a very possible world where Kyrie was that problem. And then once Kyrie left, they got a whole new set of problems. So if we look at them as separate instances within the same organization, Kyrie was a problem during that period. And now they have a whole new shitstorm of problems during this period.
But you know what's been consistent between both? Danny Ainge, the guy picking the talent.
Yeah, we've discussed that. It might be time for him to head on now.
Look, I love to take shots at Danny Ainge.